Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about sleeping bags. Let's get into it. As you can see behind me, I've got a ton of sleeping bags. I've got a ton of info to get through. I got my cheat sheet mirrored up on the TV. I've got a lot to talk about today, and I'm going to try to keep it short, sweet, and simple. So y'all come with me. Let's get through this. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is down sleeping bags. Huge hype around down. Weight to warmth ratio doesn't get any better. But along with that comes a higher cost and higher maintenance. And what I mean by that is if you're traveling, if you're backpacking, you can have your down sleeping bag compressed. That's fine for short periods of time. Hours, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, that's fine. But long-term storage, down cannot be compressed. The reason down cannot be compressed is because you keep it compressed long enough and you will degrade the quality of the down inside that bag. So whether you know it or not, down works by trapping air inside the down. That air creates insulation, and that is what's trapping in the heat. So you compress those layers, you keep them compressed, you're going to degrade that down, and sooner or later it's not going to work the way it's supposed to. Down is highly compressible compared to synthetics. The other thing with down is you've got to keep it dry. So anytime down gets wet, the downy layer gets saturated with moisture, it compresses, it no longer holds that air that traps that heat. The other side of that is hydrophobic treated down, which has some level of water resistance. It's not waterproof. It has some level of water resistance to stave off moisture, but that's only going to go so far. And because it's hydrophobic, it's going to be significantly more expensive. So companies like Western Mountaineering, Feathered Friends, synonymous in the world of mountaineering, high altitude expeditions, think Everest, think K2, that kind of deal. It's the best of the best. But you're also looking at base price $600, $700, $800 all the way up to $1,300, $1,400, $1,500. As much as I would love to have one of those hanging in my closet, that's just not realistic for 95% of the people out there. And so I'm going to take you through what I own, literally what I started with, the first sleeping bag, or one of the first sleeping bags I ever owned, and kind of walk you through the process. The other thing I'm going to talk about is synthetic. So you have down bags and you have synthetic bags. Synthetic has temperature ratings just like down does. However, they're not going to be as compressible. So that synthetic insulation is not going to compress the way down does. So per gram, you're going to end up with a larger product. And I hope that's making sense to y'all. The upside to synthetic is a much lower cost, much lower maintenance. You're going to see some of the ones behind me. I'll show you in a second. They are synthetic insulation and they can be compressed, I won't say indefinitely, but for much longer periods of time. The other thing, I mentioned with down, once it gets wet, its ability to insulate is pretty much null and void. Synthetic is the opposite. I'm sure the insulation factor, or maybe if we want to call it the R value of synthetic insulation, could degrade, but it's not going to be as drastic as down. It's the same reason why you don't wear your puffy coat in the rain. In dry weather, nothing keeps you warmer than a high quality down jacket, but you cannot get it wet. The other upside to synthetic is the cost. Significantly cheaper. As far as, let's just say 30-degree bags go, a 30-degree down bag might be $500. A 30-degree synthetic bag, $150, $200. Kind of the third category to this whole deal are what are called hybrid bags. So they're a mixture of synthetic and down. I've got one. It's been the one that I've been using a lot here lately just because of the modularity, the flexibility of the whole platform. The other thing we're going to talk about is temperature ratings. So just because you buy a 30-degree bag does not mean you will be warm at 30 degrees. Most well-known, reputable brands will have a comfort rating. They will also have a limit. And so you really have to pay attention. Some bags, when it says 30 degree, rated for 30 degrees, that's actually the limit, where the comfort rating might be 45 degrees. So you go out on your trip, I got my new sleeping bag, I'm psyched to use it, it's supposed to be 30 degrees, hey, I'm good. You end up shivering all night. And it's because there's some shady stuff going on with the temperature rating. So these two right here, it's what you're going to find at your local Walmart. This is a $40 Coleman 20-degree sleeping bag. And I'm here to tell you right now, you sleep in this thing in 20 degrees, you're going to freeze your... It is not rated for 20 degrees. It's the bags like this where the comfort and the limit ratings are extremely shady. These generic Walmart sleeping bags, as good as they can be, depending on the situation, the temperature ratings are extremely shady. You take this out in 20-degree weather, you're going to freeze. And I know because I've done it. I believe this one came from Academy. It's a Magellan brand, rated down to 30 degrees. That's probably the limit. It's not the comfort. You sleep in this. Not only is it huge, I don't care what backpack you got, this isn't going in it. I wouldn't go that route if I was you. Probably next up is this REI bag, rated at 20 degrees. And these actually tell you, I don't know if you can see that or not, what the limit and the comfort is. This is what you're looking for. So if you look at this and say, man, I'm good to 20 degrees, you're not. You're probably going to survive a night in 20 degrees, but you're not going to be comfortable. That's the difference between comfort and limit. Moving on, probably next up from that, I've got three more. One's a Nemo, one's a Mountain Hardwear. Both of these are synthetic. You can see the size difference. Mountain Hardwear, good bit smaller. This one is rated at 15 degrees, but around here, middle of the East Coast, you know, I've been all the way down to 16, 17, 18 degrees. This bag would probably be fine for that. I haven't slept in it in that type of weather, but you see the form factor compared to some of these cheap ones from Walmart. Even the REI bag, this is not a cheap bag. This is, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's not cheap. It's $100, $150 all day long. You can see the size difference. You shove that in a pack, you're going to be able to tell it. This Nemo bag, Nemo synonymous. They make great gear. I've got nothing wrong with it. But it will actually tell you what the comfort, the limit, and the extreme is. That's the kind of stuff you're looking for. If you can find a company that's transparent about their temperature ratings on their bags, I'd feel really good about using that particular bag in that particular situation. So this one right here, comfort's down to 30, limit at 19, extreme minus 11. Which basically means you're going to be comfortable at 30 degrees. Limit at 19, you're probably going to shiver a little bit. -11, it's going to keep you from dying at a -11. That's what that means. Probably above 0 or 30 or 0 degrees Celsius for my friends that are fans of the Queen's Math. You'll probably be just fine. Now, when I mentioned earlier a hybrid bag that mixes synthetic and down, this is it. This is called the North Face One Bag. And you can see, I hope you're picking that up on camera. But depending on how you structure the bag, how you layer it, you've got a 40-degree bag, you've got a 20-degree bag, and you've got a 5-degree bag. So this bag in its 5-degree orientation, I have been in down to 15 degrees, and on a Big Agnes Repeat SL pad, I think they're almost a 5 R value. Very comfortable. This is one of those bags that do not get the hype. I mean, you can tell the form factor. I mean, they are a little bit bulky. The great thing about this bag is if you're shoulder season, summertime backpacking, you can literally strip this bag down to 10, 11 ounces because you don't need the whole thing. It's going to be 60 degrees at night. You do not need to take this entire bag. And because you can strip it down, it doesn't render it useless. So I was saying some of these bags are high maintenance, which means that they have to be stored in a certain type of way. So you can see back here, that Mountain Hardwear bag, this is its storage sack. So it can be compressed while you're backpacking, while you're traveling, but while you're not using it, it needs to be stored in its bag. Nemo bag has the same deal. The North Face bag has the same deal. So that kind of comes down to the maintenance. So, you know, you put it in its compression sack, you stuff it in your backpack, stuff it in your car, you go out and use it, put it back in. As soon as you get home, you really need to take it back out, put it in its storage bag, let it loft back up. It's going to help the integrity of the insulation, and it's going to protect your investment. I mean, these things aren't cheap. I try my best to do my due diligence to take care of my gear that I count on when it could be 25, 20, 15 degrees. I mean, I feel like anything else is really irresponsible, especially if you're kind of like in my situation where I'm not only responsible for myself, but I'm responsible for other people. Try your best to take care of your gear. So storage sacks, use them if your bag comes with them. That's a big sleeping bag stuffed down that little bit compression sack. So as you can see here, you've got zippers. You can zip that layer off. So this is your synthetic layer. This yellow right here is your down. You can take this one out, zip this one back up. That's your 40-degree setting. You can take this one off, leave this one. That's your 20. And then both of these together, that's your 5 degrees. Big hood, big draft collar. It's a hell of a bag. For me, a big guy. So for somebody my size, 6'2", 230 pounds, this is a long, and it is long enough for me to literally cocoon myself inside this thing. I'm not afraid of small spaces. I'm not claustrophobic at all. If it is cold and I'm in this thing, you will literally just see the front of my face. The rest of me is covered up, and that's why I love it. It's very warm. So let's get that one out of there. I'm gonna open up this Nemo. Same thing. So this is an insulated bag. Where the North Face bag was long, this is a regular. So I can still fit in it, but it's tight for me. Huge draft collar. Big hood. Nemo have some of the best zippers. Again, they've got the comfort ratings on the inside of the bag. I mean, you buy a piece of Nemo gear, I'd feel good about it. Most people have very good things to say about Nemo. These are called gills. So you can actually unzip these if you're getting too hot. Some people think it's a gimmick. Some people swear by it. You know, you pick one of these up, you can be the judge of that. But Nemo quality bag. This is the Mountain Hardwear Shasta. Mountain Hardwear, as the name suggests, big in the mountaineering side of things. Same deal, big bag, little bitty stuff sack. As you can see in this one, the hood is not that big. This is also more of a mummy shape, meaning it's going to be tighter around you, but it's kind of a catch-22. Less room means less room. If you're a side sleeper, if you toss and turn a lot in the middle of the night, you're going to have less room. However, the tighter your bag is on you, the warmer you're going to be. Because the way a sleeping bag works is your body heat warms up the inside of that bag. In any extra space, any voided space, your body has to heat up before your body starts heating up. And I hope that makes sense. Basically, you don't want a lot of extra room. You don't want wasted space in your bag. This is the REI bag. Good size bag. Decent draft collar, decent hood. Good zippers. Again, your comfort and limit ratings inside the bag. I'm a big fan of REI gear. I got a lot of their stuff. For the price, a lot of it you can't beat. If I will say this too, if you find a deal on a bag that is too big for you, there's two workarounds. If you bring spare clothes, it doesn't matter if you're backpacking, car camping, either one, it doesn't matter. If you bring spare clothes, stuff those clothes down into the foot box. Take up that extra space. Or if you have a spring clamp, you can actually roll the end of the bag up, clamp it, and get rid of all that extra space. I'm going to open up one more. And this is the Walmart Coleman bag. And you're going to see the form factor, just how different it is. That's a big old bag. They are cheap, but at what point do you say that, you know, my comfort and a good night's sleep is worth saving $100? I mean, that REI bag I just held up, I got it on sale for $100. This one is $40. What's $60 more? So, just some things to think about. All right, so just for frame of reference, I'm going to stick my 6'2", 230-pound self in a few of these to give you some type of idea of, you know, what it would look like. Now, keep in mind, I'm a big dude. I got big shoulders. I'm not small by any stretch of the imagination. First one I'm going to jump in is this North Face bag. And bear with me because I'm sure this is going to look some kind of silly. I'm not used to doing this with an audience. So as I was saying before, here are your layers. Gonna zip up inside first, outside last. And I can tell you right now, I'm not gonna be in here long because it's gonna get hot. So as you can see, I have more than enough room when you're using a draft collar. This is what it's doing. It's keeping that drafty air from coming in and going down your bag. So this hood is big enough to actually put like an inflatable pillow inside. I use a, I think it is the Sea to Summit Aeros 4 or 5 inch pillow. And it fits just fine in there. So just piece it down. Just came out. So you can see if you're close to my size, they offer these in different sizes also. This is a long, and I think it's good to 6'6". So by all intents and purposes, it is a little large for me. So this Nemo bag has the same deal. It has a draft collar. So just like the North Face bag, I'm not going to get in this one, but it operates much the same way. So it's going to keep that draft from getting in your bag and going down. I'm going to jump in this REI bag. So this is a regular. It's not a long. I think regulars are rated good for 6 foot. And if you've never been in a sleeping bag before, there is a method. You want to slide down all the way as much of the slack you can towards the zipper. Get your hood on, lay down. Zip yourself up. So this is a regular. As far as I'm concerned, it is too short for me. But it fits and it's warm. I've literally been in this thing about 30 seconds and I am I'm glistening. So there you go. That's the REI bag. Trail made 20 degrees synthetic. I think all 4 of these, Mountain Hardwear, the REI, honestly, and North Face, the Nemo, I mean, for the money, they can't be beat. And I'll be real honest with you, these two right here were bought used right out of REI. And there's nothing wrong with them. Absolutely nothing. So I probably paid 30-40% of what they cost new. So I'm not going to get on my REI soapbox, but if you have an REI near you, check it out, get a membership. There's a lot of deals to be had. So there's nothing worse than going out, finding some solitude, finding some peace, and then getting a terrible night's sleep. And I'll be the first one to admit, I think I'm one of the most cold-natured people I know. A good night's sleep is important to me. A sleeping bag, a good sleeping pad, that whole sleep system. And I'll probably do a video on that sooner or later. But your sleep system is not something that you want to take a shortcut on. So I hope this has been informative. I feel like I've kind of rambled. Hopefully I gave you some things to think about. You can apply it to your needs. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Helps out the channel, helps me. I hope you're enjoying the content, and we'll see you next time.